the people of Udududiodo. I think what you've just asked goes beyond the question itself.
Yep.
Well, you should look at the structure of our parliament over the years and how it has been moderated over the years. It looks like everything cabinet brings to parliament must go through. Anything that is rejected or taken back is seen as a failure.
Okay.
And every government would want to push through whatever they bring to parliament. That has been the culture, that has been the subculture of our parliament. In terms of the budget, if you look at the history of the Ghanaian budget, it has been only on one occasion that the budget was withdrawn. And it was withdrawn on the basis that the figures do not tally, and I think under Dr. Ilaliman as a president. And so for the entire period of which we have practiced democracy, it is only but once that such occurrences have actually happened, and therefore you can tell from that it is not part of our culture in terms of parliamentary history and all that. The other aspect of it is, do we have people enough in our budget to actually speak to the issues of the numbers? Because whatever happened in back then, I can say is happening today, where most of the figures do not match.
Okay.
You know, look at the 6%, which is the indirect or the levies that you have. I mean, if you charge 2.5% get fund and charge 2.5% for NHIL, I assume that with the same base, tax base, the figures should be the same. 2.5 should be the same.
Okay.
But one in this budget is giving you the 3.420 billion, and the other is giving you 3.219 billion.
3.420.
3.420, and the other is giving you 3.419.
But how is that possible?
Yes.
It's not as if the person has.
Now the worst of it is tally up all. That is the 1.36, 1.36, the 3.42, the 3.41. Tally them all up and gross them up, and you realize that you should be having a VAT of 17 billion. What you have in there is 15 billion. If you take out the 15.55 billion you have from the 17 billion you have about 1.5 billion mismatch in there. What accounted for it? Because VAT is a marginal cost. Yes, people are allowed to take out what their inputs basically, and therefore, yes, in terms of the VAT side, you will not have so much with regards to it. And also, what is also reported in the is the refunds that are paid and all that. Now, if you put all together, the numbers will never tally. Yet, continuously, it has happened. It has occurred in our budget, and nobody raised a qualm about that.
Why the numbers do not add up?
Yes. The numbers do not add up because we have a poor accounting system in terms of the public administration.
Poor accounting system?
Yes. And this is a government in the last budget that said that, look, everything should go through the gift mix. Yet, at this point, we are not able to provide figures up to September. We are playing with figures provisionally even in terms of August.
And that was new for me, because typically when they come to read the budget around this time, they usually do the figures up to September. Now we're doing up to
August. So whatever planning was done, we were using up to 8 months of provisional results to actually determine the next fiscal year, how it should be run and how it should go. So yes, I mean, a lot of issues is like the finance ministry or the accountants of the nation does not have any rules by which its operations are governed. They can choose to do anything.
Do you think this should be an issue that the finance minister should properly be called to address?
Absolutely.
One, why are we having figures up to August?
Absolutely.
And not up to September?
Absolutely.
Because September ends the third quarter?
Yes.
Then you know that you have only one quarter left.
Absolutely.
But now there's a confusion because you have 1 month of the last quarter left in addition to the last quarter which we are in.
Exactly. Is it the case that after your instructions, the gift mix, people are still operating outside the gift mix? And we know what it means to operate outside of it.
But they have been doing that, have they not? It's not new to this administration. When they came to power, there has been allegations that
it's not new. It's not new.
Yeah.
It's just like they said, well, BOG, we've signed an MOU, they would not finance us again and all that. I mean, that indiscipline cannot be cured by an MOU. You get me? Same as what is being done at the Ministry of Finance and the Accountant General's end. They have every system in place to be used in terms of managing public financing, but they keep operating outside of that.
Okay.
Why? It's because of corruption. That's all.
So you would like Parliament to interrogate why the accounting for VAT?
Yes.
Does not add up.
Yes. Because if the figures don't add up, in the first place, we don't need to sit on that.
Okay.
If I prepare your books and you know your sales should be 100 and your sales is 50, you cannot say that because it is coming from me, okay, it should go. No.
The person has to explain to you why sales of 100 has now become sales of 50.
Absolutely.
What else? Because this budget seems to be quite an unpopular budget. What else would you like Parliament to scrutinize a bit more before deciding whether to touch?
In fact, Parliament is not even given the time to scrutinize this budget.
They do not have the time to do that properly.
No. Look, the budget was read and only bits and pieces of information were available to our parliamentarians.
Okay.
On the day the budget was read, parliamentarians do not have the full component of the budget. It was subsequent to what they have to do in terms of going through the budget that it was provided to them.
What we understand was Friday that it got.
Exactly. As we speak, on the website of MOF, they weren't able to publish it until about, I think, yesterday.
Okay.
That the full budget was put in there.
Okay.
And what the full budget they call does not even have the full complement of itself.
There are some things that you are usually supposed to be in there that are missing.
I don't know how they are going to finance the 2024 budget.
Okay.
As we speak.
Okay. There's no clarity.
There is no clarity.
But they can account. So aside, when you say you don't know how...
We have overall finance need of about 61 billion.
Okay.
Right? IMF, World Bank is going to give us about $1 billion if everything goes well.
Okay.
And the program loans and all that is about 66 billion cedis, and that's all. 66 million cedis, that's all.
66 million cedis.
So if you add
$1 billion, 66 million cedis.
If you add up, you are looking at 12 billion against plus some 66 billion program
66
loans.
million, okay.
66 million program loans. So you are talking about 1.66 billion, and that's all.
That's it.
That's it.
So you want to find out, so from the budget, you can't see where the money...
Well, they are saying that the rest of it is going to come from the local market issuing out some of these papers, and they will raise the rest. But that tells you that then industry and private sector will be crowded out. Totally.
So in this difficulty, when industry is struggling to get credit on the local market, we intend to raise over 40 billion, close to 50 billion cedis from this market.
Yes.
Offering interest rates of up to over 30%.
Absolutely. That's what we seek to do.
Is that in itself not problematic? Does it not worsen the situation?
Well, for a very long time, we've not seen a budget that seeks to create favorable conditions for progress to be achieved. Consistently, all we do is we only keep planning progress and hoping that progress will occur. Nothing more, nothing else. This budget offers absolutely nothing.
Okay, so if you say this budget offers absolutely nothing, it means that you had a certain expectation of the budget, or based on where we are, you expected the budget to address a few issues or some specific issues. What were those issues for you?
Well, industry production is at its all-time low.
Okay.
Any budget that seeks to propel growth must be able to actually change some conditions with regards to production and industry for them to feel that, well, yes, this is a time we need to go out there and push more.
Okay.
Now, if you want to know whether a budget is going to be successful or not, just watch the reaction of industry towards the budget. And the reaction of industry towards the budget is nothing has changed. So they are going to remain in their shells. They will not take risk. They won't go out there. They know the conditions out there already unfavorable to production. And so you don't expect much from industry that is already growing at a negative 2.2. I was of the view that a few taxes were supposed to be dropped just to stimulate industry. But when you go after VAT in terms of rent, how much of that are you getting? Because a huge portion of our rent is actually coming from individual owners of properties who are not supposed to be holding VAT or collecting VAT on behalf of government. They cannot be proper agents of government. You have done nothing about that. Yet, you said, well, I'm reducing it to 5.5% so that I can rake in more. More of what?
So you mean majority of commercial properties you are looking at belongs to individuals?
Absolutely.
So I build, let's say, I put up a building.
Yes.
You as a business come to rent it. Of course, I cannot collect VAT on behalf. So I'm not qualified to do.
I'm not qualified.
Okay. So what that means is then that really will not impact you.
Absolutely.
Because I'm already not taking VAT from you.
Absolutely. That is why you sometimes wonder, who is thinking? Who is thinking for us?
But what about those on, they talk about pharmaceutical products?
Well, pharmaceutical products have always enjoyed some kind of reliefs and exemptions and all that on some of the major products they use in terms of production and all that. I mean, it has not changed anything. Because you see, the factors of production go beyond just the taxes.
Okay.
If you exempt me from paying VAT on my raw materials, whereas I'm paying VAT on my rent, paying VAT on electricity, paying VAT on every other thing that I use, the cost of employment is so huge then how do I say that I'm going to reduce in terms of cost of capital? Very high.
Okay.
Almost you cannot predict what the exchange rate is going to be. So a portion of your savings should always be held, or your profit should always be held, just to be able to recapitalize and move on. Investors are not getting enough dividend from whatever investment they have put their monies in. You don't expect them to put in more. So it is not just about holding one little aspect of production and then assume that you have done so much to change the negative conditions of production to make it more favorable for businesses. Nothing favors industry and production in this budget.
Nothing in there.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Okay. So industry and business, because I also see agric machinery.
Well, it has always been there.
And inputs.
It has always been there.
Then the new one is also for the sanitary parts and everything.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't think that will make any change in terms of the cost of production with sanitary parts. I am yet to see one specific company that produces only sanitary parts. Most of these companies are into plastics.
Okay.
Now check the budget well. In terms of plastic, they are expanding the taxes in there.
I hear some environmental
exactly
coming in. Okay.
Coming in and all that. Now, portions or large portions of the production of sanitary pad depends on plastics.
Okay.
Depend on some hard cottons and all that.
Okay.
All those ones, when you are bringing them in, it is also used for other purposes in terms of production. So the manufacturer just don't use everything he brings in as raw material for the purposes of producing sanitary parts.
Okay.
Now, this is what the challenge is going to be. Which aspect of your raw materials are you going to use? And how will the SEPs or customs be sure that those items are going to be used solely and wholly for the purpose of the production of sanitary parts?
So it must be. So if I'm doing plastics as well as I'm doing the sanitary parts. So I must be able to show which quantities of the materials I'm bringing in and which types of the materials I'm bringing in will focus solely.
Exactly.
But you're saying nobody imports with that specificity because you know that you're using part of the plastic materials for...
Maybe unless you tell me that there is a company that is only in the business of producing sanitary parts and nothing else.
You don't know any?
I don't know any.
But it's a waiver that they've granted you.
Yes, so they will take the waiver, and the next thing is a knock on their door by the post-clearance team from the Customs Division, GRA, and you will be harassed.
Harassed about what?
Well, they would harass you to say, okay, show us your production in terms of this and in terms of that. And I'll tell you, sometimes it is not just easy as they want it to seem like. When you go into production, there are no wastage, there are no losses in production, there is nothing. They will say, okay, show us how much you use in producing this, show us your stock, show us your sales and whatever you produce, and then we will quantify it backwards and grant you this, and we will disallow you this. I'm telling you, the cost to industry will be so much that from where I sit, I can imagine a lot of them will not actually take opportunity of the waivers.
So you're saying this waiver has been granted, but most you expect, what you foresee is that the company that are supposed to benefit from this would ultimately decide that let me pay the VAT
Of course.
and move on.
Of course. If I am to advise them,
Just pay.
just pay and move on.
And then go ahead and charge.
Exactly. Because you see, even if the waivers are applied, it's not going to bring the cost of production down.
Even if you apply the waivers,
Yes.
you don't bring the cost of
It won't.
So largely you still be at the same level of prices.
Go and ask them the real cost of their production. And ask them if they have received waivers on the VAT on those other factors of production. No.
So for you, how would they have, because we have all been part of this whole campaign, don't tax. I am not one of the, I'm not a lady, so I can't say my period. We have been part of that campaign. And we've been asking for at least something to be done so that the prices can come down. What would have been the best way to approach it?
Well, if there is a business that is producing sanitary pads only, and you go in there and say that, look, whatever, whether taxes on everything, you are exempt.
Okay.
Now, if the man or the man behind production needed fuel for production, he shouldn't pay VAT.
Okay.
He should have it at a cheaper rate.
Okay.
I would have sat down with you and look at your production costs. Look at the factors that goes into production for you. And I would see each line where to cut for you to make you more productive and price efficient. Now, whether you like it or not, they are going to compete with the imported ones.
Okay.
You are going to compete with imported ones that Ghanaians or our women have appetite already for it.
Okay.
Because of the quality and all that comes with it.
Okay.
So, if I want to do something, I would want to do something that will ensure that you can produce at a cheaper cost, large volumes, that anybody behind the import would want to come and buy from the local manufacturers to distribute and sell.
Cheaper costs and in large volumes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, if you achieve cheaper costs without the large volumes,
You still would have imports.
you still will have the import in. And mind you, they have the taste for it. And you are looking at sections of how do you call it, living standards of your people.
Okay.
Those in the medium and the high may afford the imported ones, for which they have already created appetite for.
Okay.
And those are the low level, excuse me to say, the low living standard level, who would be able to use or are prepared to use certain cloths, toilet rolls, and they have substitutes for it, which is way cheaper, but not healthy.
Okay.
They will still remain there. Because if it is 20 cedis, and all the local manufacturer would be able to do in terms of pricing is to bring it down to, let's say, 17 cedis. That would not mean that they can
Still afford.
You want to do something drastic. You want to increase the volume. You want the taxes to go back into raw materials. That is what you want to do. Grow that capacity. And when they are strong enough, you can come back and recover taxes from them.
That would take deliberate, targeted.
That is what government is for.
That requires some hard work.
Yes. What are they sitting there for?
But you have always complained about the work that this government puts in. So definitely, they will look for the what looks like the easiest option.
But that is not why we pay them. That's not why we voted them there. We voted them there to do the hard work, to push themselves and get us the results.
See? Well, Don, we have to take a break. But before we do that, did you know that MTN Momo now has an app? Yes, MTN Momo has a brand new app specifically designed to make your Momo experience easier, convenient, and faster. Just download the Momo app on Play Store or App Store on your smartphone and look out for the blue and yellow icon. It's that simple. Momo app allows you to view your statements, pay bills, and so much more. Use the app for your Momo transactions and enjoy 100% bonus when you recharge using the Momo app. So go on, download the Momo app now and start transacting with the Flex at no data cost. Just Momo it everywhere you go. I still have in studio Nii Yarboi Annan, a financial analyst, an aspirant for the NDC parliamentary candidate position in Odododio.
Like you've been told, the station is gold, never gets cold. So just be bold, advertise, cause here you sell out.
It's that time of the year again for the world to focus on Ghana for Africa's biggest cultural expose. Get ready to be captivated by the magic of fashion and music as 1957 Events presents Africa's biggest cultural expose in the Gold Coast city of Accra, Ghana. Rhythms on the Runway, the Aqua Edition, Saturday, 2nd December 2023, live from the World Trade Center, Accra. Rates 200 cedis standard and 400 cedis premium. Join us as we witness a world where fashion and music are more than just clothing and sound, but an expression of artistry, innovation, and creativity. Let the magic of fashion and music transport you to a world of glamour and inspiration at Rhythms on the Runway, the Aqua Edition. Rhythms on the Runway is a 1957 event. Media partner, Radio Gold.
Are you ready to conquer the day with the right energy? Drango! Introducing Drango Energy Drink, your ultimate source of vitality. Whether you're battling fatigue, seeking a boost, or savoring a refreshing energy kick, Drango is your answer. Drango! Featuring an iconic tiger symbol, Drango is the go-to choice for athletes, drivers, and all active go-getters. What sets Drango apart is our secret formula. A unique blend of vitamins B3, B5, B6, B12, all packed in a silver sporty bottle. Drango Energy Drink keeps you going. Drango! No fears, no limits.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended. Persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Doing gets you learning. Learning starts you wondering. Wondering triggers thinking. Thinking becomes planning. Planning evolves to trying. After trying, you're succeeding, winning, owning. Now, doing that starts with outdoing your limits. Outdo them all with MTN. So, what are we doing today?
Bushia, Ejuani Swadi say, Ubesi Dine, Awafi Mwana, and ye, Nami Kamfu Hat Builders Real Estate, Ede Amawo, Hat Builders Real Estate, Ejumekwa, one more Aton and Sassy, one Sassini B, Awo, Shy Hills, Tropoli, and Afi, Ningo Pram Pram, and Nijisema, what one say, one Sassia, a what Tropoli, and Ningo Pram Pram, no, Yateso, Ede about 15,000 Ghana cedis po, Umpewe, no pedien, for 20,000 Ghana cedis pay, Fabra, Nian Train Sasia, Eda Shah Hills in the B, and Famao, Hat Builders Real Estate, one more sign Tonton, a density, any plumbing materials, BAB, one more year architectural drawing, biofuel digester, borehole drilling, roofing, Hisha Hat Builders Real Estate, Echaquine, a war, a shaman, one Mandela Parkino, and a Dinshe anymore, for Hat Builders, a Wahumeso, 0591 599 006, and 0555 314 806. Heart Builders Real Estate, the future planners.
Masa, turning temi ento bie.
Madam, mame gobe 5 cedis.
No, me da fo. Ene koko sing.
Koko 3 cedis. Madam, me say 5 cedis.
Na ma we yam wonsho. Aha de, ye gi ni bin. Me tese Betika. Me boost.
Season asset because at Betika, the winning never stops. We are giving you a triple aquaba bonus when you sign up. The biggest odds, amazing offers such as boosted odds, free bets on Mondays and Thursday, and so much more. Just go to betika.com or dial *263# on your jam phone to place your bet.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below age 18. Gaming can be addictive.
Like you've been told. The station is gold, never gets cold. So just be bold, advertise. Cause here, you sell out.
And thank you very much for staying tuned to your power station, Radio Gold 90.5 FM. And of course, let me remind you that Betika is proud to be associated with this program. They'll give you 50% free bet on Mondays. Today is Monday, so if you bet on Betika, they'll give you 50% free bet. And also on Thursday, they do same when you bet with Betika. If you're new, Betika is also giving you a whopping 175% Aquaba bonus to bet on your favorite teams or play your favorite virtual and casino games when you register. Go to betika.com or dial *263# on your YAM phone to register and play. Terms and conditions apply. That is coming from Betika. And also don't forget, Savannah Paint is proud to be associated with this program. If it has to be paint, make sure it is Savannah Paint. Once again, Nii Yarboi Annan is in studio with us. Now, let's move on to another issue. And I think you raised this issue on Saturday. And I was wondering what we're referring to, because we were clear that the Bank of Ghana had declared losses. They were not in a position to give government any more money. But you are suggesting that it has not stopped.
Well, in terms of the budget and in terms of what government has reported, it means that they receive zero financing from BOG.
Okay.
Now, my issue is very simple. If it has stopped, why the increase of 36.8% of M2 plus? Is this as a result of more foreign inflows, revenues to this country, or the printing of money? And if it is a printing of money, what is the purpose? M2 plus basically includes everything money and near money. So you have savings and time deposits, which is not money, what we call near money, because these are papers that are issued for money. So the issue here is that if you look at the trend, savings and time deposits keeps dropping from 6% to 5% and all that. What keeps growing up is our demand deposit. Now, from 28.8% last year growth, we have seen 36.8%. My issue here is, how is our money growing? How is the quantum of money in circulation growing? When in fact, our export is not growing. Our revenues we are receiving in terms of remittance and all that is not growing. So how is the money growing?
How the money is growing?
Yes.
Okay, so...
and I think BOG, it's time in the terms of the reading of the budget. BOG is firmly attached to it. It shouldn't just be the Ministry of Finance. Because I keep saying this thing. We always take our eyes off BOG, but they are the killers.
BOG is the killer?
Yeah.
So you want BOG to be a part?
Yes, should be subjected to more scrutiny. BOG should report directly to Parliament. This is what I think.
BOG should report directly?
Yes, its activities should be reported directly to Parliament. It shouldn't go through the Ministry of Finance for the Ministry of Finance to use 3 paragraphs to describe whatever has happened at the monetary side that manages the macroeconomy, basically. It is not sufficient.
I see. But it's interesting what you say. You are saying that money supply,
yes,
money within the economy has grown by 36.2%.
Yes.
And that is higher than what we saw last year.
Yeah.
Where BOG was actively involved in what a lot of people say was money printing.
Absolutely.
Now, this year where they said we've slowed down because of our activities, because of where we are currently as a bank, you're saying that it still grew by 36.2%.
Yes.
And you're saying the other places you're looking at, you're talking about the money that is coming in from our exports.
Exactly.
Maybe oil and others.
Exactly. Our foreign deposits is not grown that much.
Okay.
Our savings and time deposit is also not grown. Money outside the banking system has also not grown much. What is growing is our demand deposit.
And what is the demand deposit?
It is the money we put, the local currencies we go and put in our current account for businesses and individuals who operate current accounts and all that, including government. The monies we have in our account. Why is those monies growing?
So the monies keep growing.
Yes, because
but the other numbers do not indicate that it's coming from this place or that place. So you suspect the BOG has not stopped.
Yes.
Unless they are able to explain otherwise.
Of course. Money is coming from somewhere we all don't know.
But that's dangerous.
Exactly.
Because of the inflation rates we've seen.
Yeah.
So having said that, then does the inflation rate make sense to you? 35.2%, I believe now.
Well, I will not contest them, but they would appreciate and they do accept the fact that pricing on the market is still elevated.
Pricing on the market?
Yes, and they have said it in this budget.
I think even the Statistical Service said it's much more expensive to do okra soup than it was a month earlier. So even though you're saying 35.2%, because that suggests that it's slowing down.
Yes.
The pricing is still elevated.
Yes, I'm saying that there is money somewhere that is now finding itself into our banking sector.
Money somewhere finding.
Yes.
Which we need explanation from.
Of course.
Interesting.
And that is why BOG should be subjected to a greater scrutiny.
Okay. So, aside the BOG, are there other sources through which money can enter into this?
No.
Aside the BOG and exports?
No.
No other source?
No other source.
So where is the money coming from to increase the M2 plus to 36.2%?
Yeah.
That's okay. That's a question that you want answered.
Of course.
Yes. And then generally on the BOG's work, because every time you talk about debt, even debt, sometimes people then go back to you talk about exchange rates, BOG, inflation, BOG. Are they doing better?
No, they are not doing better. The only thing BOG have sought to do is to tighten monetary policy, which I think within the fiscal period of 2023, they even failed by bringing it down to about 19% without any just cause. And then all of a sudden had to be shot up again to about 30%, about around 27% thereabout. So bottom line is they don't know what they were doing when they brought it down to about 19%.
Okay.
Because that was the only avenue for government to raise debt.
Okay.
And after the oversubscription of one of the issues, they deemed it fit to shut it down to 19% in terms of the next issue, only to escalate it again. So you have a market that is unpredictable. And when you have such market, it becomes more risky for investors to put their money in. And that is what is happening. That is why savings and time deposit keep dropping in percentage terms.
Well, so having then said that, let me come back to what you talked about and the reason, I think, was it a 2022 budget that you wanted rejected?
Started from 2021.
But I think the one that there was an e-levy,
that
was 2022.
That was 2022.
In fact, the minority managed to pull it off, thinking that they had successfully, they found a way off. But since that time, you've asked for one thing. You're saying we have to do significant expenditure cuts. In fact, what you said initially was that go back to the table, sit down. At that time, we couldn't avoid payment of debts. So, of course, budget for servicing of our debts. Even emolument, you said, was something that should have even been looked at by now. They haven't touched it. It keeps increasing. You have asked for expenditure to go down consistently. Now, what we have seen is that this government focused on trying to increase expenditure so they can spend more. And they are also using the factor of now we are growing the economy to 1 trillion cedis. That if we get to 1 trillion, if you do 1 trillion cedis against our debt, then the debt will look smaller than it is actually. What do you think is happening in that area, and is it helpful? If you get to 1 trillion, does that essentially make us look better?
Well, I think we have played with most of these economic terminologies to the extent that we have lost even a touch of what they really mean.
Okay.
Look, GDP means nothing. To me, GDP means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay. GDP doesn't mean anything to
me. Well, it doesn't mean anything to me. You see, because GDP will not pay my debt.
Okay.
Now, in certain jurisdictions where GDP means a lot,
okay,
they are going after the income-based GDP.
Okay.
And not the asset-based GDP where you compute almost everything. You do the Pukwase interchange that is backed by debt.
Okay.
Then you add the construction to as part of your GDP and all that, forgetting that those monies will go back soon and you have to even service them now.
Okay.
So the issue about GDP that will actually make some sense to us is when you grow your GDP and your tax revenue in relation to GDP also grows.
Okay.
That is why when you are in such situations as Ghana is, one of the ways to get out of it is to go for growth.
Okay.
The meaning of going for growth is to increase your tax revenues.
Okay.
Consistently, we have not managed to do that. The target of 18% we have not reached.
Okay.
We are still wallowing around 13%. So the other avenues left to us is to borrow.
Okay.
And we are out of the international market.
Okay.
Again, the other avenue left for us is expenditure cuts.
See.
Why haven't we done anything about that? We claim to have cut expenditures in the 2023 budget.
No, even
in 2020.
Yeah.
Out of indiscipline, we crossed the red line in terms of expenditure in 2020. 2021, similar. 2022, similar. 2023, we are yet to see what will happen when the updated figures are finished us. So clearly, government does not have the appetite to cut expenditure. One of the economic aggregates that determines GDP is government expenditures.
Okay. Where government spends.
Where government
what
spends.
government spends on.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if they spend more, you are going to increase your GDP.
Okay. So when our government has increased expenditure,
yes,
the GDP grows.
Exactly. So if you grow your GDP through government expenditure, and that expenditure happens not to be productive,
okay,
then what have you done? So government keep growing expenditure, grow GDP, and it has no relation or correlation to our taxes,
okay,
or income. So if government grows expenditure by constructing a certain road that is going to ensure that the farm produce gets to town cheaper, then it's going to have effect on our proceeds, on our income as a country. That is not the case. Over the years, government have invested in a lot of I don't know how to describe it, but to say a lot of useless ventures.
Okay.
That brings nothing back to us. We've put monies into projects that have not inured to any benefits to the Ghanaian.
Okay.
So, inflation will go up because there is more money out there for government to put in to the economy. It will go out there chasing few goods because the expenditures are not directed properly to avenues that will ensure that costs of doing business is brought down.
Okay.
When you go a full circle, we will come back to where we are today. Now, is government able to cut expenditures? Yes. And that is austerity. Is it time for us to go into austerities? I say yes.
I thought we were already in austerity.
Well, but we are behaving as if it's business as usual. What have we done? Everything is intact. The only thing affected in our books is the fact that we are no longer paying or servicing our debt.
Okay.
That is all. In terms of capex in the budget, the foreign side, we have held it at bay. We have tried to reduce the domestic as well. What it means is that a lot of projects going on will have to stop.
Okay.
That is the only thing we have done. In fact, we program 8 billion in terms of goods and services. We are now at 11 billion. Now, if government claim in 2023 inflation has dropped, then probably we should have seen that in terms of goods and services.
Okay.
It should have not gone beyond the 8 billion program. But as we speak, government is at 11 billion. So, bottom line, government expenditure remains same. It's as if you are in the house, you borrowed money, your salary was not enough to pay for your debt, and you have your kids to take care of and all that, and you used to give your wife every week 100 cedis, and you decided that, well, I cannot pay my debt, but my wife, for your beauty, I would want to make it 200 cedis a week for you. That is what we're doing. I know market is hard, so look, because we've been buying rice and all that, and all the prices have gone up, we are going to spend more for that. So, as we speak, with all the debts on our back, from the budget, we are going to create more debt. We have about 61 billion to finance. About 48 of that has to be raised from our commercial banks.
And
what that
debt.
means, yes, debt. And that means that we are taking everything.
I see. What should happen to this budget? Because there's a difference between what you would have done. What do you think should ideally happen to this budget?
If government meant well for this nation, and if government really wants to do something about this budget, it would have formulated this budget with the concerns of others who do not agree with them.
Okay.
I don't know which provisions will support that.
Okay.
But I think that Parliament, both sides should be in this to prepare a new budget for this nation.
I see. A new budget.
Yes.
Well, our time is up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Michael Nii Yarboi Annan is aspirant NDC Odududio parliamentary candidate, aspiring NDC Odududio parliamentary candidate. I think that's how the English should be. He's also a financial analyst. Joining us in studio this morning. Well, I am done. Yes.
Yeah, Kokrano. Asumge Spiritual and Herbal Center. Ese problem ben na ofisi obi wo hwa wo de ehunhum nsemo so no unim hunhum nsemo hwe wani twetwa hokwa ehun hwe ente we se wo bo prin obi a ono no ye ka no hunhum nsemo ya de pa enti ebia na de no adwumasem awaresem akwantu nsem ai fuani etre Asumge Spiritual and Herbal Center okwa obekwa ko hu Prophet Blessed Emmanuel Ej ono ene da Asumge Spiritual and Herbal Center no na ombo ai pacho hwe na so na o La Paz Tabura number 4 alaji kwani so hwa no wo so hu kwano enti La Paz Tabura number 4 alaji kwani so ho ena wo ne number si eni 0244 643012 0244 643012 and I say 0552 482786 0552 482786 Freno na eninim komo na ekọ hwe o shebere bisan se obetra hwatra no ahwe yesa nya na unyi no Asumge Spiritual and Herbal Center omaba e de magana fo nyina.
Thank you. Ransford Kwesibuachi is on at 1 p.m. with Pampas, so don't forget Muftar is back before Ransford 11:30 a.m. with sports. I am Senna Numbo. We are done for today. We are back tomorrow with another edition of the Gold Morning Conversation. Thanks for your time. Ochami Bajumba is up next with the mid-morning show. Do not touch that dial.
One station. Accra 2022, 23, 24 and more. We don't try, back live. Commercial free. Just mid-morning show.
Oh, we love what you have bad Remember. Mid-morning show.
The Mid-Morning Show.
Yes.
90.5.
Good morning, my neighbors. On children, my neighbor. Experience quality
Radio station.
Put your hands up.
Brave.
Powerful.
Morning vibes and more. Accra 90.5. We don't try, bad Remember.
Whoa, we love you.
Your Mid-Morning Show on Radio Go.
We are back like 100 times. 2 times bigger. 90.5. Mid-morning show. Wait, don't tell me by Dreamba.
Feel every taste, never spread. Dark chocolate spread. Every day, it's our drink. Dark chocolate instant space. It's 3 in 1, and tasty too. Made just for you and I. Dark chocolate, it's chocolate, chocolate. Enjoy
Enjoy top choco chocolate spread and 3-in-1 instant mixed chocolate drink